Absinthe by Chrissy Derbyshire, read by Daniel Shortland. It is 1899, and John Taylor Marquise's fingertips emit sparks of fire. He likes Blake for his romantic lunacy and his proverbs of hell. Mostly, though, he despises those English romantics with their flowered talk of shepherds and nightingales. This is how he came to be in Paris. Paris, where wealthy men's courtesans are as well known as their wives, and even their centime whores look like penny arcade Sarah Bernhardts. Where poetry and revolution are irresistibly en vogue, and the world awaits, he is so sure, a messiah like him. The sun does not need to shine here, now on the cusp of a new century in the centre of the world. Even in the dull fog at dusk, the cafes give a soft coloured glow, strings of paper lanterns all along the Champs-Élysées. Here Marquise feels comfort and delicious fear in equal measure. The Paris nights envelop him in the fumes of strange alcohol and good tobacco. The ghost-like mist encircles him, embracing him. It offers up a sharp, soft, smoky kiss. Yet there is one insistent element that teases him. What is that strange, complex, medicinal scent rising through the smoke and red wine? Some drink, he imagines, but no common one. One moment he is sure he smells nothing but anise. The next, the dangerous scent of unknown herbs grown up around it, creeping and choking like ivy. He covers his face, but the scent remains. Maybe it was never there at all. Maybe it is all in his mind. He imagines his own skull creeping with weeds. Then he steps into a cafe, and there it is, the source of the green-white haze that fills his head. A group of young bohemians are talking animatedly and scathingly of Rimbaud. Il était génieux en face, mais âge si bourgeois. Suddenly they stop, with the hushed reverence of the church. A waiter approaches them, holding a tray. On the tray, among several antique-looking artifacts, bell-shaped glasses, slotted spoons, carafes, and sugar bowls, there stands a bottle. It is green, like a jewel, and labelled Absinthe. The hushed bohemians begin to pour molten emeralds into their dusty glasses. The scent drifts behind his eyes, and Marquise is bewitched. John Taylor Marquise sits in his dark apartment, his dusty jewel beside him. The ritual conjures the spell, makes the potion fit for poetic madness. First he uncorks the bottle. He has long discovered that La Fee Vert does not have functioning wings. She creeps out of the bottle, her body an invisible mist, as beautiful and maddening a mistress as poetry herself. He knows now what her body is composed of. Yes, there is anise, but also Florence fennel, and ruling them all with imperious hand, ground wormwood. He pours a dose of absinthe into the bulbous measure at the base of the glass. He balances a tarnished silver spoon on the rim, and places a lump of sugar upon it. He lifts the carafe, so cold it seems, and tilts it very slightly. The first drop of ice water seems to disappear. The second barely dents the sugar. With the third, the dent gapes a little, and the fourth causes a droplet of white syrup to hang suspended from the spoon. A fifth drop, and it falls to swirl into the clear green below. And so it goes. Marquise lets droplet after droplet fall, the sugar collapses, and the absinthe slowly turns a cloudy pearlescent white. The elixir prepared, he takes his first sip. It tastes like anise, and bitter herbs, and clear-headed genius. The green fairy's arms close about him, her hair falls about his face, and he begins to imagine worlds. Marquise eats as little as possible. He finds it desperately prosaic. Gourmands are so rarely good poets, he says. His life is spent, in the main, drinking, writing, and burning what he has written. Nothing is quite right. Nothing rings true. He is sure the muse, that which the Irish-born in London call prettily Lianan Sadie, and which he knows to be la Fee Vert, has chosen him. Yet now, after so many weeks of her embrace, when she opens her mouth, it is only to breathe her bitter-sweet breath upon him. Never to talk. He vows to eat even less, to stop his whoring and his casual affairs, and to dedicate his life entirely to poetry, and its bottled muse. It has been raining again. The sky in paroxysm of sorrow. It batters the window like the ghost child's grasping hand. Let me in, let me in. But Marquise does not fear the smashing of the window, or little Cathy's grip, cold as death. He knows the colour of the halo of protection, and it is palest white-green, and fragrant as incense. Marquise now eats only 2 small portions of bread moistened with water in a day. He is listening. He is listening. Out of the bottle rises la Fee Vert, and he braces himself for her blessing and her whorish kiss. But he does not feel her wonderful ghostly embrace as he normally does. Instead, she comes close, presses her lips to his mind, and speaks. She speaks marvellous words, revolutionary syllables, and sounds of such exquisite beauty and meaning as to ravish with loveliness. Then she says, "Lock it up, John Taylor, Marquise. Lock it up tight in the box in your mind, never to be written until I send you the sign." And with that she is gone. Marquise rejoices. At last he is the poet he dreamed of being, and one day, at the sign of the Muse of Art, he will write all he has learned and change the world, for nothing can be the same after knowing those words. Every day now is the same, except that every day she embellishes the divine verse and tells him, soon, soon now, sooner than yesterday. His fingers itch to write, but he is faithful to his lover and queen, who crawls out of the absinthe bottle. He will not write until he has given the sign. It is midnight on the Champs-Élysées. Marquise feels omnipotent. Absinthe is coursing through his veins, making the world tilt to a more attractive angle. Suddenly he is hit by a tilting wall, and then an undulating pavement. Spread-eagled on the ground, Marquise regards his surroundings. The pavement seems strangely vast, and beside him, squat, dirty, but inviting, lies a stub of white chalk. Then an ice wind whistles through him, and it smells like sugared green herbs, and says, "Now! Now!" Raising a grateful hand to the wind, Marquise takes up the chalk and begins to write. He weeps as he writes, and shivers. He imagines from the cold, though that seems very far away. As he writes, it begins to rain, thin, stinging rain that seeks out the neck beneath the collar. He does not care. All he sees is the next word, the next divine syllable. He writes, and though he does not look back, he can well imagine the vast pavement covered in poetry, white upon the steely grey. Slowly Marquise becomes aware of leaving his body. He can see himself scrawling below, but the chalk is gone. His fingers have worn bloody on the rough pavement. The last few lines are written in blood. John Smith was found frozen to death on the Champs-Élysées. It took some time to discover his identity, as he had few acquaintances in Paris, and when he had spoken to others, had for reasons unknown used an alias. He had evidently collapsed drunk in the rain. When they found him, he was lying on his front, his hand frozen in the attitude of writing. He may have been chalking on the pavement, as some chalk dust was found mixing with the rainwater near his body. Of course, his last words, if any, were washed away by the rain. No one saw him in his last hours, but one witness, though she insists she was half asleep, and may have been dreaming, thought she saw a woman, dressed in the manner of a courtesan, walking away from Smith's dead body. her skin seemed a pale emerald green. Perhaps, after all, it was just the light. That was Absinthe, written by Chrissy Derbyshire and read by Daniel Shortland. For more of the author's work, head to chrissyderbyshire.wordpress.com.